All right, in this video, we are going to be looking at the different types of numbers that are within Python. All right, so let's get right into the Jupyter Notebook. So math in Jupyter. Math in Python is relatively straightforward. Has a couple of things that we'll cover. So standard, your addition, so 2 plus 2. Subtraction works the same way. Multiplication works using the asterisk. Division, very similar. You could do 7 divided by 4, and you get your decimal number there. But one of the cool things is mod. So if you do 7 percent sign 4, you'll get 3. And so what does this mean? And so think of mod as the remainder. So if I have 7 divided by 4, the remainder is 3. So that's what this gives us. But this is also a really good test to determine if a number is even or odd. You can also determine if it is a multiple of it. So if you were to do, for example, 50 mod 5, you get 0. So now you know 50 is divisible by 5. Or if you want to check if 23 was an even number, you could do 23 mod 2. Mod 2. And you get 1. So now you know that 23 is an odd number. So vice versa, if you did 24 mod 2, you'd get 0. So you know 2 is 24 is divisible by 2, and it's an even number. All right, we'll just get rid of that real quick just so we can see my screen still without having to scroll down. So what else do we want to look at? So let's take a look at Python works on the same math arithmetic skills that you're used to. So for example, if you did 2 plus 10 times 10 plus 3, you get 105. But what if you wanted to do 2 plus 10, but then times it by 10 plus 3? So this is when you use your parentheses. So you do 2 plus 10, and you do times 10 plus 3, and you get 156. One other thing you want to keep in mind when you're using Python is what kind of variable you're using. So for example, are you using a integer or are you using a float? And so a float is a decimal number. So for example, 1.75 would be a float. An integer would be like 1 or 2. So full numbers, no decimals. And you can actually check. Let's say let's say you had the big crazy math formula, and at the very end you wanted to know, is it a float or is it an integer? A really easy way to do that would be to assign it. So let's say I have integer. We'll call it let's call it var1. So variable 1 equals 1.75, right? And we're going to do var2, so variable 2 equals 1. Now let's check the type of those. So the best way I can do this is using type, and I will put in my variable. And so I know that variable 1 is a float. Makes sense, it's 1.75. And same thing, if I do type and I check variable 2, it should be an integer, and we know that.